everyone. Welcome back to
Minnesota
Medleys. If you haven't had a chance to visit minnesotamedleys.podbean.com, please do. Also, of course, our gratitude to Eric Peterson from over at Cragen's, our last episode. Very informative. What an amazing resort.
Yeah.
Got to check them out.
Can't wait to visit.
Yeah, isn't that right? We're not going to yap at you for too long today because we had an interview with Jerry Thorson. He's the managing director of Destination Duluth. Can you guess what today's episode is about? Which
Duluth?
Minnesota town? Yeah. Yep, he is the managing director. It's destinationduluth.org. Check him out. He started working with them in 2013. He became their director in 2019. He oversees their Facebook page, and it's a great Facebook page. Check it out. But we had a great, very informative interview with him. We don't want to take up your time with us, so we're going to let's
turn it over to that interview.
Let's turn over to the interview. Well, everyone, as promised, we are going to talk Duluth today. We are talking Duluth with Jerry Thorson, who is the managing director of Destination Duluth. That's at destinationduluth.org. They also have a dynamite Facebook page. Jerry,
check it out. Jerry,
welcome and thank you. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Really honored, and it's a joy to talk about, well, living on the greatest lake of the world.
Most definitely.
Right? Yep. Well, we've got here just north of Stillwater, Minnesota, we've got Square Lake. And I mean, I don't want to talk it up too much in comparison to Superior, but it's pretty square.
It's got nothing on the size of Superior.
No,
I tell you that.
No. Really appreciate this. As we mentioned, you are the managing director of Destination Duluth, which is a not-for-profit. We are going to, a little further into our questions, ask you to kind of tell us what and who Destination Duluth is and what you folks do. Great organization, very helpful, very knowledgeable. I think people will be interested in hearing about it. In the meantime, is it okay if we talk a little Duluth?
Oh, of course.
Wonderful. Okay, I'm going to launch right into, when I go to Duluth, I'll say I'm a tourist when I'm there.
Yeah.
My draw oftentimes is, I want to go and I want to stare at the lake.
Oh,
that kind of thing.
just sit there.
Yeah. I love
Listen
coming
to
in on
it
35 and seeing the lake in the distance. What, in your experience, what is bringing people to Duluth? Good shopping, restaurants, art scene,
or is it just the lake?
Is it just the lake? Yeah. What's bringing people to Duluth?
Well, first and foremost, and first and second and third and fourth would be the greatest of the Great Lakes, the Great Gitchigumi. There's just something about Lake Superior being the largest freshwater lake in the world by volume that just draws people to its shores and has for millennia. From the indigenous people to the European immigrants, and people have in the last 25, 30 years, or a little bit longer actually, but particularly in the last 10, 15 years, lifespan as far as what we know. I'm in my mid-60s now, and I remember when Duluth and Superior were a place not to be from. The Canal Park, as we know it today, was a junkyard. And what visionaries in the 60s did to transform Duluth and the North Shore into what it is today is a story in and of itself that volumes could be written.
Yes.
Well, and you bring up Canal Park. I, as a tourist, have always been one when I come to Duluth. I can remember 30 years ago coming into Duluth, and Canal Park even then was a very different place.
Oh yes.
I mean, it's so navigable now and neat and just very well user friendly.
Yeah.
I guess
Yes.
would be the way to put it.
Yeah, and I concur. I mean, I grew up in the child of the '60s and '70s, and I remember when the deck was first built, and it was a big thing.
Yeah.
And but that was just the start of the turning Canal Park from junkyard to gem, which, by the way, we have a story on that in our at DestinationDuluth.org. Our most popular story of the year was on how Canal Park went from junkyard to gem.
How great.
Okay. I have to look that up. That must be under stories. I've got your website up, by the way. Yep, there's a tab right there.
It's just such a great area to stop when you go to visit Duluth. Everything is there. You could almost make that your trip, but there's so much more, to see.
Yeah, I bet many do. I bet. So when I mean, restaurants also. We've had, and Jess and I have enjoyed a number of good meals there. I know those are some good tourist stops. What is making people stay? What I'm sure in your stories you've heard what has been the deciding factor or factors for people to make Duluth home.
Yes. Well, number one would be Lake Superior.
Okay. Yeah.
And number two would be Lake Superior. But seriously, there is something light and life-giving about this place that cannot be understated. That is something that many people don't even realize that they're drawn to it. I mean, we say that Duluth and the North Shore are a light and life-giving place because of Lake Superior. There is something about watching the sunrise over Lake Superior, which I've never seen anything like it. Even on the oceans. And the greatest time to see a sunrise, by the way, is in the coldest days of the year.
You gotta want it.
Yep.
Right. But in the summertime too. But then when you go to we're a dark sky sanctuary on the North Shore, which means we have some of the darkest skies in America. And when people go and look out over the lake with the Milky Way and the stars and galaxies above, there's just something mind-boggling. As a person of faith, I say it's spiritual, that there's naturally just drawing people to the knowledge that there's got to be a creator and someone bigger than you and I. And so yes, why do people stay is because of the lake. But I would say in a broader sense, the number one calling card of people would be those with an outdoorsman love, a love of the outdoors.
Sure.
We've developed incredible trails inside what I call the wilderness of Duluth. We have 160 miles of trails inside city limits.
Really?
That is so great.
Yes. So within blocks of anywhere you live in Duluth, you can hike to your hike and bike to your bike riding, and it's just amazing. And that's again something that's happened over the last 30 years in particular. particularly the last 15, 20.
Okay.
The Lake Superior hiking trail starts at Jay Cook Park just south of us and goes straight through Duluth without going anywhere near Canal Park, or you feel like you're in a wilderness going through Duluth on the Lake Superior hiking trail, all the way up to the Canadian border, 310 miles.
Yeah.
Neat.
So,
Up for a day trip.
Over 160 miles of trails inside the city limits of Duluth. And they say that there's over 500 miles of trails in the vicinity of Duluth. And that's just one outdoor element. But whatever the outdoor enthusiast loves, we have it here, even down to surfing on Lake Superior.
Yes, I've seen that.
Yes.
Those people are nuts.
This is a good time for that, isn't it? Because don't you have the gales happening right now? So there probably is quite a bit of surfing out there with many wetsuits layered, I'm sure.
Yes, the surfers are storm chasers. The worse the storm, the more they love it.
Yeah.
You get the waves similar to ocean waves.
Yeah.
Do you ever have somebody say, I decided to move to Duluth because of hills? I'm just always amazed when you're down on Superior Street.
Oh, the hills.
When you look up, it's just seems like it goes forever.
Yeah, it's cool. Well, and that's a cool thing. We have a town of 86,000 people spread over 23 miles long.
Yeah.
And most of them living on the hill have lakefront property.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's right.
You can see it.
The
definitely.
view. Yeah. Absolutely.
Stillwater is also a good place for hills, and San Francisco. So I think those three cities are great places to learn to drive a stick shift.
Oh, park on the hill, now go.
Do they even make those anymore?
They do. For the brave few of us.
I think.
For the brave few.
Well, we're coming into a couple of nice times in Duluth for festivals and events. Now, many people will know of Bentleyville being a real big one. What are some other big things any time of year in Duluth, big festivals, events people should try to hit up?
Well, can I talk about Bentleyville just for a second?
Well,
sure,
of course.
Please
do. Yeah.
Bentleyville is an organic, gigantic Festival of Lights in its 20th year. Nathan Bentley, who lived outside of Duluth and Esco, started decorating his home and property, and it started drawing hundreds and hundreds of people. They started having buses go to it. And in the Ness administration about 15 years ago, I think it was, invited them to move to Canal Park Bayfront Festival Park. That's when it exploded. They have over 5 million lights. It's been ranked number 1 in the country by USA Today as the best outdoor light display in the country. And it's been something that, again, and it centers around someone who just loves Christmas and the Christmas spirit. And not just the glitter of the Christmas spirit, but they actually opened it for the first time this week as a prelude with a kickoff kettle festival, and the kettle festival being to benefit the Salvation Army. And each year they raise tons for the Salvation Army, and everything about it is free except for the parking. And it's just amazing. I mean, if you haven't been to Bentleyville, by all means, do it.
I'm guessing the pictures don't do it justice.
Exactly.
I would imagine.
Gotta be there.
Although they do draw a lot of people each year, our pictures of Bentleyville reach over 3 million impressions.
Isn't that amazing?
It's a very impressive spectacle.
I
it really
mean,
is.
And for those of us down here in the Twin Cities, I mean, it's just a day trip to go up to Duluth.
Yeah, that's true.
And
yeah,
and do a few things during the day, and then stay for the evening, and then it's a few hours drive
really
back home.
accessible.
It's nothing, it's just.
Oh yes.
Oh.
We love that, and I'll continue on as far as festivals are
Please
concerned,
do.
and or holiday things. This time of year, and I don't know when this podcast will be played, but Glen Sheen, Christmas at Glen Sheen, incredible mansion, and it too is up for USA Today. They have a 10 best contest, kind of ongoing contest type of thing, and they're up for best house museum in the country, and they have been before, and placed second behind Graceland. So behind Elvis, that's understandable.
Okay.
I suppose
that's a must-do thing too. I mean, each year the Minnesota Ballet does the Nutcracker, and this year the Duluth Playhouse is doing the Sound of Music in the restored North Shore Historic Theater, and there's just so many things to do in Duluth during the holiday season. And I will say one thing though: the best time to come during the holiday season is Sunday through Thursday.
Yes.
Okay.
And
probably a bit busy.
Well, over 300,000 people go through Bentleyville, and it's 28-day run or whatever the amount of days it runs. I forget exactly. It runs from November 18th to the 26th of December, so I guess it's a 30-some day run, and it's every night too, even Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, and Christmas. Our family's made it a tradition to go after Thanksgiving feast to Bentleyville and walk off our
great idea. Great idea.
Perfect.
But beyond Christmas, really seriously, there's some sort of event festival that's going on all the time in Duluth. I mean, the arts and culture scene here is remarkable for a city our size. And the Deck is a massive venue that can and does attract many. And Bayfront Festival Park during the summers is booked every weekend. There's a festival of some sort going on at Bayfront Festival Park, and the Bayfront Blues Festival is the one that's the oldest and longest standing. But they have like the Lester River Rendezvous in the fall, which is just a really cool event that's done all by the neighborhood. It's just incredible. And the Lester River kayak races, as soon as the ice breaks, we have hundreds of kayakers that come and race the Lester River, which is, by the way, Destination Duluth's main hashtag is Be From Duluth. We want to encourage people to come and visit, but stay longer, and then live a lifetime, and to make your destination Duluth your destination for life. That sounds like a lot of, that was a whole string of taglines. But,
that is wonderful.
But Be From Duluth has a really kind of unique story, which I won't get into right now. But it was because of the Lester River kayak races. Do we have time for just a real short story on that?
Please. Yeah, you bet we do.
It was 7 or 8 years ago, and my wife and I happened to just be at Lester River in the park there, and the trails are incredible. And we noticed, the parking lot was full and beyond with kayakers, and they were just finishing up the race. And I decided to get on my phone and do some, just impromptu interviews.
Sure.
And I'd say, I'm Jerry with Destination Duluth. Tell us your name and where you're from, and where you'd like to be from.
Yeah, there you go.
And I swear to God, out of the 20 people that I interviewed, half of them said, well, I'd like to be from Duluth.
Yeah.
That is so great.
Yep.
So great.
I believe it. Yeah.
There's just something about it.
There and also, really if they were from Duluth at that point, they wouldn't have as long a drive home.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I do like seeing things about the John Bear Grease sled dog marathon. Yes. That is such a neat event. And I would love to get up there to be a spectator.
Oh, yes. Well, interesting. I'm a part of Rotary Club 25 in Duluth here. And we just had the Iditarod winner of this last year, whose grandparents started the Iditarod. But he comes down every year to northwest Wisconsin, we're in the snow belt to train for the Iditarod, and of course to race in the Bear Grease, which he has won several times. But his story is phenomenal, and we're going to tell the story sometime soon, probably around the Bear Grease time. We'll tell his story, and it's fascinating. He had a dog that was deliberately hit by a vehicle, and one of his race dogs named Wildfire, and veterinarians miraculously, one saved his life, and he actually was in the race that won this last year.
I'm glad that was a happy ending.
It's an Iron Wheel type of Disney story.
Exactly.
That's pretty magical.
Soon to be a movie.
Absolutely, it should be.
So, is there any time of the year that you would tell people, this is the season to visit Duluth. This is when you should come by. I know you said sunsets are best in the winter. And by the way, Jess and I have witnessed those, but it was from the comfort of a hotel room in Canal Park. But you're right. It was amazing. But any other times a year you would recommend getting to Duluth?
Well, it's funny that you should bring that up, because when people think of Duluth, they think of cold,
right?
Yeah. And it's some have this mistaken notion that it's too cold for human habitation. You're nuts to live there, but seriously, I mean this. A little story here. 11 years ago, when we started Destination Duluth, one of the co-founders said to me, "We're not going to talk about the cold in the winter. We're going to kind of deflect that."
Yeah.
Well, that was the winter of 2013 and 14, one of the coldest winters in decades, where the ice caves were open on the Apostle Islands, which only happens. Well, it hasn't happened since. I mean, we had just incredible. March 1st, I remember writing a post personally. It was like 13 freaking below zero on March 1st.
There you go.
I didn't put it on Destination Duluth, but it was a post that had an essence to it. So I said, here in Duluth, whatever the weather, we just roll with it. And just seriously, some of the best time to come to Duluth is during the off peak tourist season.
Yeah.
And the coldest day of the year and the wickedest of weather. We have storm chasers who watch the forecast and literally try and beat the blizzard so that they can be here during a blizzard because it's just incredible on Lake Superior to watch Lake Superior in its fury.
Yeah.
And so there is no bad day to come to Duluth.
Yeah.
Well, plan for it, dress for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. And there is something, Jess and I were just mesmerized by being out on the balcony of our hotel room in Canal Park when, oh, by the way, we spent 4 nights there and not once, including during the day, did it get above 0 degrees.
Yeah, it was
Fahrenheit. It was below 0 the entire time. And it was fine. We know how to dress for it. We're from Minnesota.
Well, exactly. We have a saying here: "There's no bad weather, just bad clothing."
Yep.
Just bad gear.
Yeah, bad clothing, and my dad tacks on, and bad attitudes. So you gotta be ready for that. But when that ice is freezing,
that you were here.
January.
That was mid-July.
No,
I'm kidding.
I think it was late December, early January, or something like that. And when we were there, I think it was the last time the big ships could come in.
So you saw this.
Well, that would be January 15th. I think that's
so then there we go. It was that part of January. We saw the smoke, just the haze on the water, and
at one point,
looked like ghost ships.
Yeah. At one point, there were 12 or 13 ships waiting to get into the harbor. And at night, just that twinkling out there, it was surreal.
Yeah.
And then the sound of the ice trying to freeze on the waves.
It's kind of tinkling. Just making
really neat.
Oh, so fun.
So indeed, in fact, our photographers, we have over 300 photographers that we featured on Destination Duluth last year.
Yeah.
And the best photographers will tell you that they love the coldest days of the year the best.
Yeah.
And so again, even if it's 21 freaking degrees below 0, there's something cool to do in Duluth. No pun intended, but
that's so true. So true.
When we here on Minnesota Medleys talk to somebody who's sharing about their town, we oftentimes, ask them, can you recommend places to eat? Now, in a small town, you can say where do the locals eat, but the locals probably eat everywhere because there's a finite number of restaurants and it's a small town. Can you point anyone, or would you dare point any out-of-towners to where the locals are going? Like you said, 86,000 people. Where would you point someone?
Many places.
Okay.
In fact, we've just launched a new initiative called Eat and Drink Duluth.
Okay.
Where we're having reviews of uniquely Duluth restaurants and recommendations. We have a number of them on the website already, but one is the iconic Bridgman's restaurant, which is the last Bridgman's restaurant in the country.
It is. Okay.
There used to be hundreds. It was a franchise that was fairly large, but Bridgman's ice cream originated in Duluth.
Oh, it was? Okay.
And Bridgman Russell, and they were at one time the largest creamery in the Midwest. But this couple, sweet couple, Bromans, who, by the way, also put on this called Duluth Junk Hunt. They just had it last weekend at the deck there. But anyway, the restaurant is on the top of the hill by Miller Hill Mall.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's just wonderful. I mean, it's wonderful. But perhaps the most talked about, well-known and perhaps hyped, is Duluth Grill. And for good reason. Tom Hansen bought it 20-some years ago. It was called the Highway Host, and then Embers. It was an Embers franchise, but Tom is an entrepreneur like none I can ever imagine, and one who specializes in transforming people and inspiring young entrepreneurs that they can do it. The Lincoln Park District is now called the Lincoln Park Craft District, and it's a must go-to place. And I was just meeting with Tom a couple weeks ago, and he says now that there are 16 local restaurants in Lincoln Park. But the new Scenic Cafe is a must go-to place for fine dining. And of course you have the Grandma's chain of restaurants in Canal Park, which were one of the anchors of the reformation of Canal Park. And so I could go on and on and on.
Yeah, there is no shortage. We have found we've been up there too. It can be very hard to decide.
Very hard.
I am wondering if we could take just a few moments here to allow you, if you'd be so kind, to tell us just a little bit about your organization, of which you are managing director, Destination Duluth, destinationduluth.org being the website. If you could tell us a little bit about who you are, what Destination Duluth does.
Oh, I appreciate that. And the thing about Destination Duluth is we're not selling ourselves and we're not promoting ourselves. We're a 501c3 nonprofit, educational nonprofit. And it started in 2006 by a high school graduate of Marshall School here in Duluth, a private school. He went on to Cornell University, and he was so tired of hearing people, his classmates say, "I can't wait to get out of Duluth." And so in 2006 at Cornell, he registered the domains of destinationduluth.com.org and all the other ones, and with the vision of someday being a part of rebranding Duluth into something that was not universally perceived as. If you look at anytime in the movies of the 90s and 80s, 90s, and 2000s, Duluth, whenever it is mentioned, was a joke.
I guess that's right.
Right. And what happened is he got together with a couple other business people in 2011-ish or 12-ish, and they started talking about forming Destination Duluth without any money. Without any funding, and which is a blessing and a curse, I will say. But and I had been laid off of the Duluth News Tribune in 2012, and in my 50s, and I'm thinking, well, what am I going to be now when I grow up?
Exactly.
And again, I mentioned I'm a person of faith. I can tell you the exact spot where I felt that God wanted me or was calling me into doing social media marketing. And so I started doing that, and one of the co-founders said, "Would you be willing to help us start Destination Duluth?" And we launched in May 26, 2013. Within a couple days, we had thousands of followers. And it just started off like wildfire, and it has not burned out.
Yeah.
In fact, last year we we had 100 million views of our content in 2022.
That's incredible.
Wow. That's really impressive.
And that's really hard to wrap your head around.
Right.
But perhaps this number is easier. That's an average of 275,000 a day. All
somehow it's not easy.
Positive, positive impressions of this place called Duluth. And we've done it. I shouldn't say we've done it. A very small group of individuals has launched Destination Duluth, and we were at the right place, right time with Facebook. Facebook was just 6-7 years old at that time, and just exploding, and we got on the bandwagon, and we could literally put out several ads, if you would, a day. Not in a true sense, but I mean, literally positive impressions about Duluth, and like I say, it just caught fire, and people now have truly fallen in love with Duluth because of the photographers. Many, by the way, who have come to Duluth and moved to Duluth. I have the story of several photographers who saw images on Destination Duluth and decided to move to Duluth and have become phenomenal photographers in their own right. And these images, not just Destination Duluth, 100 million is just Destination Duluth, and those 100 millions are basically curated content of the best photography on a daily basis. We have over 300 photographers that contribute to our page, who want to be on our page because every post gets 10 to hundreds of thousands
great exposure
of views, all with a positive impression of Duluth that just screams come.
Well, come and be from Duluth.
And we really would encourage our listeners and others to visit your website at destinationduluth.org. Jess and I were talking about how it's so interesting about your organization is it's got this feel of a little bit of a chamber of commerce, a little bit of classifieds, a little bit of a tourism bureau, how it focuses on people, places, things, and it really does have just this positive feel about it that makes you want to, be more involved in one way or another.
I so appreciate that. We just recently, over this last year, have a new board, and we spent 9 months on our purpose, mission, vision, and values statements of who we are and who do we want to be, and what is our purpose, which is to foster a connected, vibrant, and growing city. And our mission is to do that through curating and creating content that educates, inspires, connects people to this to Duluth, and showcasing its unique quality of place, with the overall vision that people have a deep sense of belonging to Duluth. And then our values, we spend a great deal of time on who are we. We want to be intentional. We want to be always positive, and we want to be genuine.
So that we don't end up taking your entire day and evening up. We just want to say thank you.
Yes, it's been an honor to hear from you about Duluth.
Jerry,
thank you.
We've of course been talking with Jerry Thorson, Managing Director of Destination Duluth. And remember, #Be from Duluth.
Yes.
Visit destinationduluth.org and learn more from Jerry and his partners with that organization. Thanks again, Jerry, and we'll hope to talk to you.
Yeah. See you in Duluth.
Yeah, we'll see you in Duluth.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks. And thank you. We appreciate it so much.
You're welcome.
Well, Thank you, Jerry. Yep. Very, very informative. I just have to remember that from our place to Duluth, it's 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And it's so close, and there's so much to do there.
We need to go there more.
Beautiful place. Yeah, we do need to go there more. So we, as always, are inviting you to suggest other towns we should look at in Minnesota, other resorts as well. We have some very exciting, an exciting future here with some.
It's going to be good.
Some stuff regarding authors, some more towns, some.
Some new stuff,
new events
to talk about. Yeah.
Yep. Film festivals, just a lot of fun stuff coming up. So please do continue to check back. Our thanks again to Jerry Thorson with Destination Duluth. Please do go to our Facebook page too. We've tagged a lot of Duluth businesses there. Check them out. Thanks so much, everyone. We'll see you next time on Minnesota Medleys.
Bye.